The original intention of the film was just for my personal use, but I thought with it being such a unique thing that I'd like to offer it to anybody who wants to see it. Things like that. And it's just a unique film of him.
He says, I beat you. He says, they say we came in under the dead heat. He says, that's not true because I beat you. And the American said, well, he says, if you like to think so, he says, but I know the real story. He says, I know I clearly won that one. See?
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Comics, Comic Network, and comic-related madness proudly presents The Show-Offs, featuring Rex the Devil Fly and Texas Dave Houston. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zandt on YouTube.
What's up?
Oh, good cup of coffee. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, Pop.
Welcome, my friends. Welcome, guests, audience, everybody, to one more time. We are here for the show-offs with Rex and Dave. Look, I'm gonna get
Hi, everybody.
Okay. You guys know what they do. They come out here, they show you certain cool stuff out of their collection. They pick an artist or a creator or whatever every week. This week, Steve freaking Ditko. You guys gonna have no problem filling this show up, right? Right?
Absolutely not.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Let's say a little bit of hello to the chat. We got lurkers, but we got people that show up. What's up, Shadow? Queen Bee?
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out yesterday and being part of that unscripted stream. That was great. Thank you for the support. We got General Piggy. What's up, brother? How you doing? So, you guys, go ahead and introduce yourself. Dave, tell everybody who you are.
Yeah, I'm Texas Dave Houston, and I've been collecting comics for over 50 years. I have a vast collection that I'm slowly selling off at the minute, but I've still got plenty left. And I just like all things comics.
We've been trying to talk Dave into setting up a B&B over there in England so we could come over and visit him and just hang out for a week and look at all of his cool stuff. But he ain't going for it. I don't know why.
Not yet.
We're wonderful people. Why wouldn't you want
Or
to
he
hang
sells
out
it all off.
for a week?
Well, if anybody's ever visiting over here, they can always look me up, I'm sure.
Thanks, bro. Rex?
No man, a mystery. Yeah, I've been collecting since about 75, 76, you know. I got everything from toys to books to you name it. So we're going to take a look at an artist, Steve Ditko, today that created a character you might know. That's been made on Clean, Spider-Man, arguably more popular than Superman and some others. No offense, Dave. I see the hat.
Yeah. I'll have to get a Spider-Man hat. It's no good.
Yeah. Everybody around the world knows what thwip means.
Yeah.
Thwip. Maybe not this newer generation with Miles Morales, but lots of spin-offs, lots of movies, lots of TV movies, lots of animated. I mean, arguably the most popular, and Steve Ditko created that with the Stan Lee.
You got Paul Roper in the chat.
But you'll probably find out that's not all he did.
So
No.
Also, I just want everybody to know this guy up here is not just a fan or a collector. He's also in the midst of creating his own project as well. So you'll see in the future as we go on, you see Doc working on some pages for him. You'll see this book come to life right here between his shows, my shows. Dude, it's a blast watching this all come to life, man.
That's right. I mean, Doc's only within striking distance of it totally being done, and then I have to do the hard thing. I have to pay up. Pay for all those kids. But I've seen them behind the scenes and Pops.
I know.
Doc, I heard Doc last week say, I may have to go back, and I've done such a nice job on Rex's story. I may have to go back to my own book, Perotta, Blood and Mud, and rethink and read some pages, because he has knocked it. He's leveled up. He has done an awesome job, and it sets a great tone for this book that'll be coming out.
Yeah, he showed me a cabin today.
Oh yeah. That
showed me the cabin panel, and I was just like,
if he's gonna do that, if he's coming out like that, it's gonna be strong, man.
And you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, that's he very, Doc is close-lipped on this stuff. He just does not reveal that much. Once I get the original art pages in my hand, I'm going to have to lose them somewhere in the attic because I want to show every one of them, and I know he doesn't want that, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. But man,
it's hard getting him in. It's hard with Rich, especially tonight, because Rich wants to go out there and draw everything live, right?
Yeah.
It's like, dude, slow down. You can't show everybody every freaking page, man.
Right? Yeah. I've just commissioned Vic King to do a piece for me that's tied in with the Devil Flyer story,
right?
The character that is revealed at the end of that story. And I thought it's a no-brainer. I've got to at least do a trading card with that character, even though he's going to be in issue 2, because I'm looking down the road, Pops. I'm looking down to doing a project. My next project after this will be sort of a break from the Devil Flyer title, although I keep working on that. In fact, I just secured an artist to do a new artist to do the Devil Flyer this time in issue 2 last night. And I'll keep that under wraps for now. But yeah, I showed him a drawing of a character that every now and then when I draw, I kind of look like Steve Ditko around the wrist. He had an interesting way of doing hands and wrists. And I said, oh, that's how Steve Ditko did that. I was not a big fan of Steve Ditko, in the early 80s when he was back at Marvel doing like Fantastic Four Annual and every now and then. Of course, he later after in the early 90s created Squirrel Girl, which was kind of a one and done character created by but has taken off since. There's a lot of Squirrel Girl fans out there.
I think he did some Machine Man as well, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, Machine Man. I've tried to go back and collect all those, Dave, because I didn't collect those when they came out. I think I've just about got all his Machine Man. Machine Man's one of my favorite characters. Of course, a character created by this man in Big and Me here, Pops. Okay. Jack Kirby found it, talking about it. My copy of Tales to Astonish, number 35. One of my favorite Kirby covers.
Yeah, it's a good cover, that.
First appearance of an Ant-Man in costume. Now, unfortunately, I'll never get this one graded, and I really don't want to. But down here in the Ant, you can see somebody's amateurishly kind of filled in, lost some of the cover luster, and so that would have to be Green Label restored if graded. But I saw this in an index. One of those great indexes that came out in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And I said, man, I want that book. Never thought I'd own it. In fact, my friend in Tennessee got this, and then I kept it over here for a long time and gave him what he paid for it finally, which was only $100.
Wow.
So quite the deal for one of my favorite Kirby covers. Of course, we can't mention Steve Ditko without showing some classic Kirby because
absolutely not.
Because Steve Ditko during the Atlas years inked a lot of Jack Kirby in those monster books. Arguably, when they started doing Fantastic Four, the Thing was kind of a hedge your bets because popular monsters are always popular, but they were particularly popular then. And some people say that the Thing is kind of hedging his bets. He put in a monstrous character like the Thing.
That's it. Yeah.
Your
Jeremy's
music
in the Madness, Paul. Go look for Jeremy in the Madness. You'll find him.
Okay.
All right, Rex, do you want to start off this evening?
Oh no, age. Well, I'll show a few items.
Oh, he was about to hit you with the age before beauty.
I noticed that.
I wanted to show I just grabbed a couple items. Spider-Man, he's got to be his biggest creation, known around the world. his amazing Spider-Man title, which is not Ditko, it's John Romita Jr. But we all know that face, don't we?
We sure
Dave?
do.
Spider-Man, known and beloved around the world, and I think part of Spider-Man's success was that you couldn't see his feature. He could be anybody.
Exactly.
He could be American. He could be British.
Yeah.
He could be from Antarctica. It didn't matter. He had a mask on, right? And
exactly.
And I pulled this because it not only is it Spider-Man, his greatest creation, but it has what I call the Ditko box up here.
Yeah.
Because Ditko in Tales to Astonish, I believe, with the Submariner and the Hulk, came up with that.
Right.
Putting up a little box up there, right there. I
always liked those boxes, Rex.
And this is the era here, 60 cents, and with that pose of Spidey up there, when I had a comic book shop, Dave. I don't remember this particular issue or carrying that in my store, but let's see what year that is. It'd be 83, so this was probably after, but I may have sold this particular copy during that time. But now, he didn't just create Spider-Man, right? He created The Question for Charlton Comics, Mr. A, which most people don't know. He self-published. He was an independent publisher for the last of his life, several decades, probably from the 70s, wasn't he? On publishing his own stuff. Sadly passed away, and I think it was a few days before they found his body. So that
I believe so.
He had been dead several days. He was kind of a recluse, kind of like hey Hex Allen, kind of like Howard Hughes was in a way. Didn't see anybody except his secretary. Maintained an office in New York for years, and went to work every day drawing his characters. Right.
Well, we had somebody over here called Jonathan Ross, and he actually went over to America to try and talk to Steve Ditko. It was quite interesting.
Yeah. I know Neil Gaiman, who's doing Sandman. He tried to visit Steve Ditko, and they called him, he and another friend. It's on YouTube. That's where I saw it.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. And he said, "Is that who you were talking about?" Tried to see him.
Not the same person, but a very similar kind of idea.
Yeah, there were two of them. Neil Gaiman, I remember the guy that does Sandman. They called Steve, and they were down below, and he said, "No."
Yeah, I think that may be the one. Yeah.
And they went up together, and the secretary, he said, "Let them in." So they talked to him for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Said he was real gracious with his time and everything. I think they might ask him for an autograph, but he never autographed anything. There's very few pictures of the man.
That's true.
On Twitter, I do have a picture of Steve Ditko coming out as an old man right before his death, coming out of the doorway of the building that he had his office in for decades. But nobody really knew who he was. And I said, when Stan Lee dies and passes away, and sure enough, everybody knew Stan Lee, gave him a lot of acclimates. When Steve Ditko, it was like crickets.
Yeah.
He had been dead a couple days, 2-3 days. I don't know how long it was before they found his body, because he was a recluse. It's amazing that he didn't find it, the next day, because the secretary, he probably went into the office every day, didn't, at least with her. So I'm really surprised. But, he did wonderful work early on at Atlas. I'll have to pull a Captain 3D here while you're showing some things. That was Steve Ditko's third artwork. He worked for Jack Kirby and Joe Simon when they were doing their own thing in the 50s, like Stuntman and, all kinds of wacky characters. They were trying to bring the superhero genre back in the 50s, and really till 56, till Flash kind of, And I don't even know how big it was then. Can you tell me, Dave? You were alive back then.
I was, but I'm not too sure. I was only quite young, don't forget, Rex.
You weren't even collecting and reading then, were you?
No, not a lot. I think I was about probably 12 or 13 when I started reading those. Yeah.
Here is one of early Iron Man stories. I think the villain is called Doll Man.
Yeah.
You really, you know that character? Because he's not on my radar at all. But
yes, I know the name. I definitely know the name.
Yeah, that's Doll Man, I believe. Which Doll Man is an old Fawcett character, but I guess Doll Man is generic. So there's some Steve Ditko Iron Man. Now, Steve Ditko early on did also the Hulk in that short 6-issue run. I always thought his Hulk, didn't like his Hulk, Dave. I mean, because he wasn't, Steve Ditko kind of did leaner figures, didn't he?
He did actually,
he bulked up figures like Kirby.
That's right.
I mean, Kirby had a way of chunking everything up, didn't he?
He did.
So what was your guys' favorite comic growing up? Go ahead and interact with some of our fans here.
I've got to say Avengers.
All right.
When George Perez was doing it, because that kind of was my gateway into it. And a lot of those in the mid 70s had Kirby covers. And believe it or not, I was, but now Steve Ditko was a different taste. I didn't like his stuff. Like I said, I think he did the 1983 Fantastic Four annual. And I didn't really know the significance of Steve Ditko till later. I'll tell you what sold me on Steve Ditko. I would go and get those little digest books of Doctor Strange, of the reprint of his Doctor Strange stuff. And I like that stuff. I mean, the writing and just Steve Ditko's art in that. And a lot of people call his, basically one page is like 9 grids, a standard 9 grid panel for a comic book.
Yeah.
But he was kind of claustrophobic with his artwork. If you look at his stuff, he really created this tightness on the page with the artwork. Would you agree with that, Dave?
Yeah, I would actually. I mean, I know that one of my favorites growing up was Doctor Strange as well. I just like the style of the character and all the other dimensions he went to.
Well, we haven't mentioned it, but Doctor Strange is another character that Steve Ditko created, and he never, he did claim that he really created Spider-Man and not Stan Lee. But first they went to Jack Kirby, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of looked like Captain America with the flared boots and everything. And they said, no, that's not what I'm kind of going for. And then they gave it to Steve. Steve was quite the innovator. Like I said, he created the Ditko box. That had been used before. When you look in the Golden Age books, I do see examples of that. But he kind of standardized that for Marvel.
I think that was kind of what took Marvel off, and with Fantastic Four #1 onwards, was the Ditko box, as you say,
Yeah, well, Fantastic Four #1 did not have a Ditko box yet.
Well, that's right, it didn't, but it did shortly after.
2 things that really tell me it's a Marvel book back then, Dave, is the Ditko box.
Yeah.
Which it could be like art from another artist. They kind of get one standard pose or something from some published stuff. And that was the brilliance about Marvel Comics. They'd print it again and again and again.
That's right, they did.
Steve did a little booklet, on his own saying, who, with his argument, who really created Spider-Man? Is it the writer that comes up with the idea, or the guy that actually executes it and gives you the particulars of the character?
Like, the visuals. Yeah. The
visuals, right. And, but he never went after rights of Spider-Man. Now that he's passed away, his family is actually sued, almost like the Schuster family with Superman has sued Marvel for rights on that. And the Ditko family may get rights to the original Peter Parker. Who knows? And Betty Bryant and J. Jonah Jameson, and you know,
Hmm.
all that. I mean, if it was Superman like Schuster, it'd be Perry White and Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. Anything he had a hand in.
Yeah.
He also invented the Creeper. Remember the Creeper?
Yes, I do
For
remember
DC
that.
Comics?
And I think there was also, I think he did Hawk and Dove as well, didn't he?
He did. He did Hawk and Dove, Showcase Comics. Ran for 104 issues. I know because I have production issue cover to 104, the very last issue by Joe Kubert back there. But I don't care if I ever sell that one. That was a benchmark. That was a Showcase Comics actually was placed on hiatus, and then they came back for a few issues, and then they stopped it again. But it ran for 104 issues. Excuse me. But it showcased some of DC's greatest books, and starting with issue 4, right, which kind of people say kicked off the Silver Age with the reimagined Flash.
Yeah.
Got to put that in there. Show us what you got, Dave, and I'll dig back here and try and get that 3. I'll be listening.
Well, I'm just gonna show this one because I don't know if you've seen this one, Rex. But
I have not.
It's a reproduction sticker book.
I like that. Now let me look that over real good. Not seeing any Ditko. Now there's Ditko on the back there. That's Spider-Man's Ditko.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, is that may not be. Anyway, I'll leave you alone. Let's take a look at that. Yeah. I mean,
so these are some stickers that you could get back in the 70s, by the way.
Oh man, that's an awesome book. I've actually seen somebody on Twitter posting those.
Right.
And then they would have fun captions to them.
That's right. As you can see there.
That's from the 70s, Bronze Age, yeah. And Steve Ditko probably at his time there is, which was kind of brief, really. He did 36, 38 issues. How many issues of Amazing Spider-Man did he do?
Oh, 30, was it 32?
Well, you started with John Romita Jr., didn't you? That was
I
did. Senior.
I think it might have been. Yeah, it was either 32 or 36. Somebody will have to remind me.
Okay. I'm sure somebody out in the chat will know. Hey, Dave, we interviewed Genuine Comics last night on the Apex show, Apex Comics, that I co-host with, and had a good time, had a good laugh, and checked out his Perfect 10 project on Indiegogo. Now, that's when Galactus didn't have pants.
Yeah.
Got those bare knees. Yeah.
That's right.
World Eater with bare legs. He needs to get a tan, Dave.
He does. They also use the same pose with different captions, as you can see.
Yeah, that's from that's Gil Kane artwork on Hercules there, and from Champions #1 cover.
Right. Okay.
So they would lift a figure. They might have multiple figures on the cover. Man, that's an awesome book to see all those old stickers. Yeah.
Well, it's a nice book, Rex, and there's plenty of stickers to show, as you can see.
Characters like Kill Raven there, lesser known characters. Yeah. Maybe King Cole there in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's Cole the Slayer, is it?
Yeah,
King
Cole. Yeah. Kind of like Conan, a barbarian.
You got Kid Coat there, I think.
Yeah,
Kid Coat,
Ditko inked some Kid Coat. Of course, on Kid Coat, it was like Jack Abel or Dick. I think of these names off the top of my head. Medusa, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if that was Morbius up in the corner or what.
I agree with James. Galactus without pants just isn't right.
You know,
Yeah,
I mean, everybody can have a bad day, Dave.
they sure can, Rex.
Yeah, son of Satan. Now he's another. My devil flyer is, has something in common with it. Galactus not
Yeah.
eating Earth. Wow, yeah.
There you go. Galactus not eating Earth. Coronavirus.
Well, thank God
Oh,
for coronavirus.
there's some
Now some of
Spider-Man
those
left
are
there.
some of those Spidey's there are Ditko. The
Yeah.
one in the middle is definitely Ditko. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the middle is Ditko.
One in the middle. That one.
Yeah. But now I had a poster with the one by your finger there off to the right there.
This one.
Yep. I had a poster of him like that. That's
Yeah.
that's a pose, and I think that might be a Ditko pose too. You can see that how he arched his front leg. It really now out of all the characters that are hard to identify, Dave, Spider-Man's the hardest because the way I identify artists is see how they did the faces mostly.
Right.
And with Spider-Man, his face is covered. So it's very hard to identify who did the artwork on him,
That's true.
Unless the artist is very distinctive, like Gil Kane or Gene Colan.
Yeah, that's right. As you can see, there was a lot of stickers that were done back in the 70s.
Oh yeah, they came out with those. What in the mid? Does it say what year those came out, Dave? Is it like mid 70s? 73?
Yeah, 1975, 1976, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I got to grab this. This is Fantastic Four number 13. Yeah, we got to show that off. That was Fantastic Four number 13 was the only time Steve Ditko on the Fantastic Four, which was a big book back then, Dave.
Right, okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was a big book back then, Dave. The world's greatest comic magazine, they called it.
Right. How about these stickers, Rex?
Were you a Fantastic Four fan?
Yeah.
You were? Okay.
I was. I like some of the captions.
Well, why don't you read? Well, see, that's a Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange. Why don't you read what Doctor Strange is saying?
It says, if you can't beat them, call them names.
If you can't beat them, call them names. That kind of sounds like the Democrat Party over here.
Well, yeah.
Sounds like a way for you to get them to beat you. I'm just saying.
There's
yeah.
a whole one. What do you mean you don't have my shoe size?
And I think that one was on a sweatshirt back in the 60s.
Yeah, I think that one was.
Yeah, that was ran in ads, and it was on shirts that they were selling back in the 60s. So some of these images go back even though they came out in the mid 70s, were 60 images.
That's it.
Again, they just reused. There's another Spider-Man. You can always tell kind of a Steve Ditko Spider-Man.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. Of course, he not only did Spider-Man in that, he did Spider-Man in some crossovers and the annuals too.
Yeah, that's right.
And those were like 72-page annuals, so they were really big back then.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice book, this, isn't it? Now then, talking about Ditko boxes, Rex, how about those? If he's still there.
I'm sorry, you were saying about Steve Ditko box?
Yeah, I've got some here, Rex, to show you.
Okay. Oh yeah. I actually saw a tweet that they're making those into stickers.
Yeah, well, these are stickers, Rex.
Okay. Oh, okay. So they're kind of reissuing what they've done before, then, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm just going to go upstairs and get a binder real quick that's got a lot of Ditko Spider-Man in it.
Okay, then I'll just carry on with this book. I know it's not all Steve Ditko, but it's nice to see these, especially if people haven't seen them before. So I'll just carry on showing these different boxes off here. Still only 35 cents, that one down there. A bit more than that now. These are some of the fonts they use, you know, for some of the covers, I believe. As you can see. Different ones there. Got a load of floating heads on this page. A bit closer, then you can see them a bit better. And that's a very wide one of Hela, I think. And a few more on this page as well. Rocket Raccoon, Clear, Green Goblin, Dormammu, Hawkeye, and Wasp. We have some posters, but they're attached to the book, so I can't show you those, unfortunately. I'll have to move past these.
I'm a floating head. Look at me, Dave. I'm a floating head.
Marvel value stamp. Very nice.
Yeah, I got a couple of those stupid things.
Yeah, very nice. Right, so we've got to the end of that book. So we're talking about Steve Ditko. So how about that book? The Art of Steve Ditko. There was 2 volumes made, so this is the first volume, I think, by Craig Yeo. Introduction by Stan Lee.
Oh yeah.
And that's the back.
Yeah, that's quite striking with the black and white front. You know, everything's in color nowadays, but
Well, yeah, but it's nice to see some black and white.
oh, definitely. I mean, I do see a little bit of color on the ash of that cigarette.
Yeah.
Yep. On the logo. Yep.
So how about that for a end paper?
Yeah, I mean, when it came to mystic realms and otherworldly realms, he was kind of it, wasn't he?
He sure was. Just zoom in a bit for you there. Let's have a look at the back page. I think is the same. Is it the same? Yeah, I think it is. Let's have a look. So there we go. The Art of Steve Ditko there. An ink pot for a head.
Yeah, I mean, look at that stuff. You know, that's just
It just draws you in, doesn't it? It just draws you in.
It expands the imagination. That's what it does.
Yeah, it sure does.
You know, that's what I always liked about the work I was talking about that he did on Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was
pretty good, that.
You know, working with working with Dick, or working with.
If you look at this page, Rex, it's got all different letters and things going on.
Now he used to draw the monsters like Gorgo.
Yeah.
And Conga for Charlton. Conga was like a giant gorilla.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm just pulling some Steve Ditko. It occurred to me that I have a lot of, not a lot because there wasn't a lot in the collection, but from the Jack Adler collection, which was the archivist for DC Comics. In fact, the very first piece out of my Jack Adler collection was a Steve Ditko, because he said that there wasn't very many Steve Ditkos in the Jack Adler collections, and it was also a #1 issue, and there wasn't very many #1 issues in the collection. So I paid $300 to get that little ditty. But
this cover here is Strange Suspense Stories, number 32, from 1957.
And that would have been a early Charlton book, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Yeah, I think even though Charlton didn't have the best pay rate, at least, one of the worst pay rates really for comics, Steve Ditko worked for him for quite a while.
Yeah.
Quite a while, even up into the 70s, I guess, or maybe beyond to the end of Charlton. He would rather work for them for less money than to work for Marvel.
That's right.
He was a very principled guy.
I was going to say to Karen's comment there that, yes, this is the book I found in Cardiff in Wales.
Okay.
Back in, was it Cardiff? No, it was Forbidden Planet, I think. Yeah, Forbidden Planet in Manchester. When did I buy that?
Well, Dave. Yes.
2010, Rex. 2010, I bought this book.
Okay. I guess that's when it first came available, was 2010.
I think it came out before then,
Oh, okay. So it had already been out. Yeah.
I think so. I'm just looking to see. Can't see in a minute.
And I like looking through these Jack Adlers. It's just a wonderful, wonderful collection of DC covers.
But I think some of these covers are really good, aren't they?
Oh yeah, I especially like his Charlton stuff.
Yeah. Dr. Graves.
Steve Ditko had a very distinctive style, if that's the way you can phrase it.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? I think
very distinctive style.
Especially with the faces, I think he drew faces quite well.
Yeah, and just his anatomy on the character, just very distinctive.
Mm-hmm. Routine. I mean, this page, if you didn't know better, Rex, you'd think it was from Doctor Strange.
Yeah, really. Yeah. He did a lot of that weird stuff, weird realms and things at Charlton.
Yeah.
And,
he did indeed.
But in different settings without even superheroes, just sort of like Twilight Zone stories, weren't they?
Yeah, they were a bit.
Ordinary people in strange situations, strange realms.
I mean, just look at the expression on his face there.
Yeah, kind of like Outer Limits type story. Yeah. Which suffered to early 60s TV shows. Nuclear.
Yeah.
Did he work on Nuclear? I guess he did. That's definitely Ditko Pose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a Dale comic book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't doubt me, Dave.
I'm not doubting you.
Lose faith in me now, Dave.
It's definitely Steve Ditko, because if I can hold that right up close, you can just about make his name out.
Is that the interior pages and the cover?
I think it is.
I actually have that comic book, Dave.
I have
Nuclear only came out for 3 issues from Dell Comics. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That's another cover for you. Unusual terms.
Look at the colors. That probably looks better than when it came out on pulp paper.
Well, yeah.
He probably
Way
created
out, man.
some, like that Top Hat character there on the cover. He probably
Yeah,
created some of the most distinctive looking images in comics, and yet we don't know it unless you have that one issue. They were like one. I mean, the guy had an imagination. Look at that.
yeah,
Yeah, and his space adventures and space wars. Um,
yeah.
and also he did Captain Atom, created Captain
Yeah.
Atom, didn't he?
I think he did.
And he also worked on the Blue Beetle. I think he created the Silver Age Blue Beetle
Hmm.
for Charlton, along with his original character, the Question, which would later become like Mr. A.
Yeah,
A little different. Mr. A didn't come around till like the early 70s.
hmm
Just a few years ago, I found out about Mr. A.
yeah. I don't think I knew about him until about maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, Ditko certainly. I would love to see a checklist of his stuff just to see how much he did, because he did volume and starting in the early 50s up till the time of his death.
Mm,
He did an enormous amount of work, didn't he?
he sure did.
Worked with some greats like Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Dick Ayers. That's
Yeah.
the Dick character that I was trying to name a while ago, and it left my mind.
Mhm.
And he also did The Traveler.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that, but
Yeah,
he
I
did
think I was
Traveler
aware of it.
in the 50s, and I think Charlton. I had like the reprint type issues from the 70s of The Traveler, and I have an original Traveler. It's not that great a shape, but yeah, he did a lot of pre-code horror type stuff, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I mean, that one was that. This is issue number 10 from 1958, and that's got the Comic Code Authority.
The pre-code stuff would have been some of his early work, though, because he started in like 1953, 52, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm. There's a nice black and white page of Doctor Strange there.
Yeah, you got Dormammu, if you can say that right, and Clea, which was sort of the assistant to Doctor Strange. I guess he created the character Clea as well, along with Stan Lee.
Yeah, I think she was the girl from the other dimension. She was known as when she was.
She was kind of the apprentice, wasn't it? My apprentice, like in Star Wars.
Yeah. Fantastic artwork, though.
I think at Charlton they just said, "Okay, Steve, do your stuff."
Yeah, I think
they didn't pay that well, but they were, he really probably didn't have a lot of money at the time he died, Dave.
No.
He didn't seek the fame and the fortune.
No, I don't think he did,
He was a recluse.
Yeah. I saw the Invasion of the Stone Men.
I'm just going to be looking back here for that comic book.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that's the Traveler right there with the hat. I'm not sure. He had a lot of characters that wore hats.
Yeah.
Hats used to be in till about the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Flodora hats.
I like that page where they've got like a big face in the middle and small panels round about.
Right, that might be the Traveler right there. I created it. Thanks to him with the hat and everything, I've created a cosmic character called the Bystander, and he looks a lot like the Questioner, the Traveler.
Yeah.
Of course, the Watchmen also had Rorschach, right, which was based on Steve Ditko's Question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those eyes.
Yeah, he really did some memorable work for Marvel, but I mean, he really knocked it out of the park with some of his DC stuff.
Yeah. And like you say, also Charlton as
stuff.
well. The Thing from Below. This is quite a heavy book, by the way, Rex.
Okay, well,
I just thought I'd mention that. I'm nearly at the end of it though, so we're doing all right.
Okay. I've got so many copies of that Captain 3D. You'd think I could find it real quick, but there's so much stuff, so little time, Dave.
Well, that's the thing, Rex. Time flies when you're having fun.
Mm-hmm.
This magazine is haunted, Rex.
Well, that could very well be, Dave.
Yep. Could well. There's a few cats on this page.
You know, it's your fault for buying those big omnibuses, those heavy books to show, Dave. You need to
I know.
Kind of mix it up, you know?
I do try to, Rex. It's not easy.
It's not easy being green.
Because most of the books I've got are quite big and heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I am Gora.
Okay, you get done with that. I'll take over and show a few things.
Yeah. I'm nearly finished.
Look through this binder and see what I have here.
Yeah.
I have that Hawk and Dove that you were talking about.
Right, okay.
Now, he did the covers to the first Hawk and Dove and the second issue, but then Gil Kane took over with issue 3 and did the covers to Hawk and Dove. Hawk and Dove only ran for, maybe about 6 issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it ran for long.
Yeah, there were a lot like Hawk and Dove, Anthro, The Creeper, which Ditko worked on, that were short-lived titles of the late 60s, like 67, 68.
Right, Rex, it's your turn.
All right, my turn.
Your turn.
Okay, just flipping through a binder here that I put different pages in, like this, that are kind of clear and you can top load them. In there, I had a couple of copies of Hawk and Dove number 3, which was Gil Kane cover, but which was this one. Because I say, like Ditko did 1, 2, and then with this issue here, Gil Kane took over the cover artwork and stuff for the series. I don't know about the interiors. I'd have to go back and look at that. But here's Hawk and Dove, my kind of poor copy, and I think this might even be British. It's got a stamp on it, Dave.
Okay.
But, kind of a poor copy of Hawk and Dove number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I recognize that cover.
Not too bad, yeah. Now, this was not their first appearance. Their first appearance was in Showcase.
Ah, right, okay.
A title that we talked about earlier. Showcase gave us Green Lantern, Justice League, The Flash, Adam Strange, all kinds of stuff. They even did a G.I. Joe issue. They did a Dr. No James Bond issue.
Yeah.
Gave us so many characters. First appearance of Dolphin, first appearance of Creeper. I believe number 79 in that. But here's an example of the indexes I was talking about. If you don't have
I used to have all those, Rex.
Oh yeah, I've got every one. They're scattered, and I should have them for up there in a row for reference.
Yeah,
these things are invaluable. Yeah. These things are invaluable. This gentleman just died less than a year ago.
I wish I'd not. I was going to say I wish I'd kept mine now, but I've sold them. So there we go.
Oh, Dave, you got many years before you die. purchase them again at the price. Really, they're not that expensive, but
No, they're not.
they're invaluable information. The thing I like about them is they give you like guest star, a
They do,
fly,
and all the credits to who wrote and draw them.
the credits to everything. I'm going to open this up and just show, the layout of that. It is in black and white and has the covers. But just like I was talking about, that Ant-Man cover. Let's see right here, Tales to Astonish. I first saw this in one of those indexes, and I said, "Oh man, I gotta have that." And here I got a copy. Never get rid of this thing for $100. Good shape.
Yeah.
But these indexes. This was one of the later ones.
It was.
I didn't get started, but the very first one was Spider-Man, 1976. They started at 76 and ran up to like the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Some of the later ones are hard to find, and I don't have them and I've never seen them.
Right.
Usually when they come up for sale, well, I don't even want to take this thing out. It's so tight in the bag. This was a thick one. But I went this far. I'm committed. So, it's going to be hell getting back in that bag. This is about one of the only ones that can fit in one of those bags. But you can see here's the classic John Byrne, Terry Austin run. All the information gives you a black and white cover. This one is on the X-Men. This is part 9, part A. Gives you all the annuals in the back. And then for the X-Men, like the reprint books, Amazing Adventures that came out a little while, which used the classic Kirby covers. But also, had like every other issue was a fill-in, like John Byrne, I know did, And so back here, it's also got Ghost Rider, his little short run in the back.
The Ghost Rider with the horse.
Well, this is the one with the motorcycle.
Oh, yeah.
But it does have, like, here's issue 50 that featured Ghost Rider with the guy on the horse.
With the original
Ghost Rider from the 50s comic book.
Yeah.
So, and then here's the Champions. You had showed that one sticker on Champions #1, which I finally, in the last couple of years, I got a Champions #1 original to add to my collection before it goes too high. I'd like to see it. That was that sticker you were showing of Hercules there and all the other characters in the background. No need to find it, Dave.
Sure, Rex.
But these had like wraparound covers. There's the original team. And I know the Captain America one had Jim Steranko cover. This is Brent Anderson cover. But these things are invaluable. Invaluable.
Yeah.
There it is, that classic Gil Kane. But it tells you like the cover and who's on the cover and who the artist was. It tells you the title of the book. It tells you it gives you the credits, like you said, Dave, and any guest appearances or guest stars. It gives you like a little intro to what's going on, if there's any origins or cameos in it. And any comments. It's just, if any part of it's like reprint material or if it's all original, it'll tell you that.
Absolutely.
These were published. I think they kind of switched publishers. This Pacific Comics Distribution put it out.
I think somebody else took over publishing them,
Yeah, I think they started out with one and then they kind of switched. But this one here came out in 1981. That was the thing about these. They ran up to current time.
They did at the time, yeah.
At the time, this one here, X-Men, ran up to issue, let's see, what on the X-Men? Of course, had all the annuals in the back.
Yeah.
Any of those giant size annuals. It ran through the John Byrne, Terry Austin years till issue number 152, which came out December 1981. So it ran the whole year of 81. This when this came out, copyrighted,
Yeah.
81, 82. So
The
it ran
same
up.
year, I was going to say that was the same year I bought my house, Rex, 1981.
Invaluable indexes, though. I'd enjoy the hell out of those. I need to have, like I say, I need to gather up all mine. A few years ago, I bought every one of those that were significant. Now, some of the later ones had monsters, war, and other things like that, but you can't find them. They were lower print run, and people that got them, they keep them. You know. Now we mentioned pre-code. People that don't know pre-code, this was a comic that actually depicts, and this actually happened. People burning comic books in the early 50s. They actually did have, because they said comic books at that time. What it was? It Frank Wortham came out with a book, Seduction of the Innocent.
That's right.
And that was contributing to the delinquency of America. So you had parents burning comics. You had public burnings. This is a book called Forbidden 3D, but it depicts the times in the 50s there where they were burning comic books.
Right.
Now, you know, we mentioned Jack Kirby. I mean, I wish they would do something like this. Of course,
I think I have that issue, Rex.
Jack Kirby collector. I wish they'd have a Steve Ditko collector.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I have that issue.
Okay. Do you have this one from it?
Yeah, I think I've got that one too.
Yeah. I need more of these, Dave. So any extras, send my way. Just saying on this, if it had Steve Ditko. See, he's not even mentioned in this one here. He's not mentioned in this one. But
unless he's mentioned inside somewhere.
Right. Yeah. But on rare, this one has a rare Jack Kirby interview from 1970, Stan Lee interview. You have like other interviews with Roy Thomas, John Romita, John Buscema, Marie Severin, one of the few females at that time in comics.
Yeah.
Kind of a rarity. Worked for EC Comics and then worked for Marvel Comics. Herb Trimpe, Flo, another woman, Flo Steinberg, and George Rousseau, which was an inker for Jack Kirby. So a lot of big names, but no Steve Ditko. Pretty sad, you know.
Yeah.
But I would, you know, this Kirby collection, a great book to collect, magazine. I think this comes out quarterly, doesn't it, Dave?
Yeah, I think it is quarterly. Yeah, something like that.
And you get to see a lot of Kirby roughs before they were inked by like inkers or artists like Steve Ditko. Because I tell you what, that's a dynamite combination. I love me some Jack Kirby with Steve Ditko inks.
Yeah.
Which, you know, as time went by and they got busier and busier, he was working on Spider-Man and like Doctor Strange. Steve didn't ink like Jack Kirby like he did in the Monster days for you know, when it was called Atlas and not Marvel Comics. Here is a original painted by Jack Adler, one of those, and I almost got Creeper #6, but I got outbid. So sadly, I didn't add that one to my collection. But this is original hand colored Beware the Creeper #4 by Steve Ditko, all hand lettered there in white. Great shape, not, you know.
Yeah,
but they would do like a copy of like Steve Ditko's cover artwork, and then he would this was part of the production production of Beware the Creeper #4, which was a short-lived title, but not many Steve Ditkos in this collection. And I'll show you the first one. I got that one later, but the very first one in that collection I bought for $300 was that book I just showed you. And these are one and only things. These are production pieces. to this is the approval cover to, which is a part of the stage of, making the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are, like I said, $300 for this one, Dave. So
Nice.
it's well worth it. Like I say, there's very few #1 issues, although I've kind of tried to collect those from other artists. And then, like I said, I also have the approval cover to #3, which is Gil Kane. It changed. Like I said, Steve Ditko only did the artwork to issue 1 and 2. And then Gil Kane takes over. And then here's Fantastic Four #13. And this is, I don't even know who these people are. PGA Comics graded this. And they have it wrong up here, Dave. This is Fantastic Four #13. This is, I think, Jack Abel inks, maybe, over Kirby. But now inside is Jack Kirby and besides Fantastic Four #1, I think I almost prefer this one. Fantastic Four #13. The only time that Steve Ditko inked Jack Kirby on the Fantastic Four, the only time, because when you think of Kirby, you got to think of the 102 or 3 issues that he did with Stan Lee. It's and a lot of people try and go into comics and break that record, continuously working on the same book. I know Art T. Bear did, and then was shut down, fired from Marvel. But he also, now Steve Ditko did ink him one more time on the Fantastic Four, and that was the cover to Fantastic Four #14 with Submariner on the cover.
Yeah.
The very next issue after this. But I first encountered Fantastic Four #13 Ditko goodness over Jack Kirby in one of those big Treasury editions.
Oh, yeah.
So big images, just a fun time. They go to the moon. First appearance of the Watcher. First appearance of Red Ghost and the Super Apes. One of my favorite things. Who doesn't like monkeys and gorillas and stuff like that? And kids love gorillas because they put them on covers. They found out, hey, if you got a gorilla,
they did.
Everybody wants it. I don't know why Six Gun Gorilla doesn't do any better than it does. People love gorillas. But now this is mislabeled. Whoever PGA Comics who graded this thing, and it's graded a 5.0, very good, fine. I don't know about that, But they got up here, who published it? Dale Comics? Dale, February 1959. I know that's wrong, Dave.
That's not right.
That's it. So at some point I'll probably have this re-slabbed, and I might lose my grade, which is fairly high grade, but who knows how good a job they did. I really don't think it's a 5.0. It might be lower than that, and I'm willing to get it re-slabbed. But this is one of my treasures because it's Fantastic Four, and it's Steve Ditko inks over Kirby. The only time he did it. And just such memories of reading them go to the moon. And it was the Cold War with the Russians. So Red Ghost and the Super Apes, they get in a transparent rocket to let more cosmic rays in, right? It makes sense. Everything's transparent. And kind of like in the early space race, they were sending monkeys and dogs, especially the Russians. Sometimes they were retrieved, and sometimes the poor animals just died in space, Dave.
They did.
But it was the space race. So the Russians fire off a missile at the same time the Fantastic Four do, which they got their start, right? And their powers trying to get to the moon. Well, this time they actually get to the moon, and who's there? The Watcher. Yeah. And they got one area that the Kree, another alien race, an ancient settlement, built called the Blue Area of the Moon. Ooh,
that's the one.
And there's air there. So in that little section of the moon, they can get out and they don't have to have helmets on or anything. And they have a battle with Red Ghost, who can become intangible and phase through things,
Yeah,
He can
it
pick
was
up
good. It was a good story. That it was a good
It
story.
was a great story, great first appearance of Red Ghost and the Super Apes, and one of the biggest characters that's often overlooked, the star narrator of What If comics that would come out in the mid 70s, about a decade later.
Yep.
The Watcher,
Yeah.
who was had like a backup feature, I think in Tales of Suspense or Tales
Yeah,
of
but he also had a backup feature in the first few issues of the Silver Surfer, of course, as
It
well.
was called Tales of the Watcher, I think.
Yes, it was. That's right.
And he was supposed to observe the Earth in this sector of space, but not interfere. But he was always interfering, Dave,
Well, that's it.
especially in the Galactus saga, right? With
Yep.
those knobby knees, those uncovered legs of Galactus.
That's it.
But yeah, Fantastic Four 13 got to be one of my favorite issues of the Fantastic Four. Great Kirby artwork, but really what draws this issue and makes it special to me is the Ditko inks on it. I wish I had seen more of that, Dave, because Kirby didn't always get the best inkers, but every time I would say, especially in those monster magazines, anytime he inked those Kirby things, and some of that stuff is reprinted in fantasy masterpieces.
Mm-hmm.
What you got there, Dave?
Just waiting for Pops to change me over. Oh, there we go.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, Gargoyle. Yeah, I mean, we're also leaving out Don Heck. He was a big artist when Ditko and Kirby were coming up as well for Marvel. And some of his stuff is reprinted in these amazing fantasy fantasy masterpieces, which was really an early reprint for Marvel. It's amazing. Marvel's a fairly new company, right?
Yeah.
If you don't count the Atlas or Timely years. And they're already reprinting their superhero stuff. They're more recent stuff. But fans were kind of clamoring for it, Dave.
They were.
There's one issue here that says this story by Jack Kirby, this story by Steve Ditko, and this story by Don Heck. Let's see if I can find that one. These are, but it reprinted a lot of that early monster stuff. Yeah, let me just show these because Steve Ditko's featured in a bunch of them. I didn't know the camera was on me, Dave. And these are kind of hard to pull out. But here's and the great thing about these, it reprinted like that Captain America story there is probably the Golden Age Captain America. It reprinted Captain America stories from the Golden Age. Now you can't beat that. But
no, I remember those issues.
You can see up here in the Ditko box with Captain America's head a bunch of the monsters that's featured, and Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko did a lot of those early Atlas monster stories before superheroes came back into vogue. So if you wanted to see some of the great Steve Ditko work or Jack Kirby work in the early part of Marvel, before it was called Marvel and called Atlas, these fantasy masterpieces are great books to pick up, especially if you want those Captain America stories that were from the Golden Age. You can see up there in the Ditko box the different characters, some Kirby, just Kirby stories, some Kirby with Ditko inks, some stories that just Ditko did himself. So I highly recommend Fantasy Masterpieces. It says, the little subtitle up here, it says from the Golden Age of Marvel, but some of this stuff was definitely Silver Age stuff that they did. Now these like panels down here look a lot like Ditko work to me.
Yeah, they do.
Not every story, like I said, but there he's going up against the Red Skull. But up there in the Ditko box, you've got some of the creatures that were featured. And man, I mean, I really need to get, if I don't already have an archive of some of that early Atlas stuff, because it has Jack Kirby, but it has Jack Kirby inked by Steve Ditko.
Well,
that was a combination.
I was going to say, Rex, I have a couple of omnibus editions that have a lot of those stories in,
Okay. Unfortunately, I got this one a ripped corner, but I probably have multiples because these are good books to collect. They're big, thick, square bounds. Like I say, they give you all that early monster Atlas stuff. Gives you some Golden Age stuff. This is with
all for 25 cents as well,
which was a lot of money back there, Dave. I don't care how thick it was. That was a lot of money back then for kids, It
was.
When everyone else is going for 12 cents, and before that, 10 cents.
Yeah.
I love this one because it's one of my favorite all-time, All Winners number 19 cover. Love that sort of puppet master type with all the Golden Age characters from Timely. Dangling, wonderful. Now they in the 70s they reprised this fantasy masterpieces and had a second series that featured like the old John Buscema Silver Surfer stories.
Yeah, they did. That's right. Right.
But if you wanted early, Atlas stuff from the 50s, from the 60s that Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko worked on. This reprints a lot of that material, and I don't think, Jack Kirby had some, like George Rousseau, Jack Abel, Dick Ayers, Joe Sennett, of course, inked a lot of his Fantastic Four. But for me, my favorite inker, again, on Fantastic Four has to be Steve Ditko. That only did this one issue. Now, in Amazing Spider-Man #1 of his own title, the Fantastic Four are in that book, and drawn and inked by Steve Ditko. He often inked his own stuff. Here's the last issue here. I don't know if that's the last issue of the run. Didn't run that very long. This is issue 11, with the original Human Torch from the Golden Age and Toro, his sidekick. You always had to have sidekicks then. But if you want to see early Kirby, early Ditko work, check out Fantasy Masterpieces, because it's just kind of a mixed bag.
It is.
But now what I love about that early stuff is that often Jack Kirby would draw it and Steve Ditko would ink it. And I really think Steve Ditko, at least for me, was my favorite inker of Jack Kirby. Definitely. Unfortunately, some kids, like you used to do, and I used to do sometimes, took a pen and sort of outlined Human Torch's face there in blue. I don't know if you can see that, but kind of just went over the lines, and so not that great a shape, but it's been loved by some kid.
That's
or
true.
some bored parent. What else you got to show us, Dave? While I put all the comics back in the
I'm just going to get one of those monster books out.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on. Where is it?
I'll tell you, Pops, he's a glutton for punishment.
I know. Monster books.
Trying to find it.
And he's not talking about werewolves.
No.
Were you? Steve Ditko did better work on the question than Spider-Man. Fizz says.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Monster books. Look at that.
My God, you are a glutton for punishment. Think.
Yeah.
You have got some heavy reading.
This is how Dave gets his workout every week. We make him move books.
I'm telling you. What now, Pops? Were you a big fan of monsters in comics?
Well, I mean, I love the monster on the cover of that one.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look, half of the villains, half of the things that superheroes had to overcome were monsters.
Yeah.
You know?
Very true. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm just taking the dust jacket off because I don't want to damage it.
That's what I do, Dave, with those volumes. And
it was funny because you brought up Doctor Strange earlier, and it's like my grandson, Doctor Strange is his favorite. He went in my collection on his birthday. I told him, you can go ahead and get in that drawer right there with the Doctor Strange art. Take any book you want. I haven't looked to see what he took yet.
Oh, my. Yeah.
I mean, I told him, get anything you want, whatever you want in that drawer. And you know there's some good stuff in there, right?
Well, he might have got some Steve Ditko Doctor Strange then.
He might have got something really good. Yeah. I mean, I haven't looked, but I mean, it all stays in the same place anyway. Yeah.
I'm going to show you the back pages because what happened there?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to show you some back pages.
Wow, that's going to be recolored.
It has, yeah. This is from Civil War #5. Monster variant cover by John Cassidy and Matt Wilson.
Oh, okay. So that's more of a recent thing.
Bringer of Doom from Journey into Mystery 75. That's from.
Okay. Definitely, he's I know John Cassidy's work. He's channeling his Ditko and Kirby, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now another great artist that likes to work on that on monsters is Art Adams. I bet you got some Art Adams monsters.
Yeah, I probably have somewhere.
Yeah.
So these are all like sort of like variant covers and things like that.
If you don't like monsters, you ain't black. To quote our president.
That's it.
Or misquoting.
That was tracist. Rex,
yeah.
You're being tracist, bro.
How about that one? How about that one? It's pretty good.
Wow. Yeah, that must be Colossus. The living stone, maybe.
It's the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, #1, it says.
How can it be racist if, or I'll use another word.
Tracist.
If our
term is tracist.
Tracist, yeah.
Tracist.
If our president said it.
No.
Is that the stone in a Saturn?
Look, Rex, when we say anything controversial on this show, it's tracist.
Okay, got it.
Always.
It says Thor the Unbelievable, spelt with 2 R's from Tales to Astonish 16, it actually says on there.
So that's the stone men of Saturn, right?
It kind of looks a bit like them, doesn't it?
Yeah, because it says Thor down there.
Thor with a double R, though.
Oh, okay. Now, Pops is going to... I'll actually have that Fantastic Four cover with the robot there.
Ah, right. Okay.
It's kind of a weak monster thing to me. It's okay, but it's not the old Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko work.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I love that. Now, that's the original Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, the orange creature there, which sometimes he appeared white.
That's right.
He's also got another name, which I'm not going to try and pronounce.
No, I can't pronounce it either, to be honest with you.
Kind of like Mixelplick.
Or
Mixplicklick, or I don't know how you say it. Now, is that Groot there on the left?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is.
Groot that made his appearance, I think, in Tales to Astonish. Well, I'm not going to tell you the issue number, but he made like a one-time appearance, and he was in his second appearance was like, gosh, over a decade later in Incredible Hulk Annual #5. along with a bunch of the early Atlas monsters.
Yeah.
Groot kind of came out of nowhere, hit the movies as a character, and he hadn't really made that many appearances in comics. And now he's in the comics all the time.
When all you say is "I am Groot," you're hit, bro.
Yeah, right. I mean, keep it simple, stupid, right? Now that with the gate, the monster coming through the gate is old artwork reimagined, but it's a takeoff of homage to King Kong.
Yeah, I think it is.
When they had the giant wooden gate and Kong came through the gate on Skull Island.
That's right. Couple more there.
Yeah, you got. Oh, that's definitely a Ditko monster there in red and orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Kirby didn't design it back then, Steve Ditko did.
That's very true.
Did they take some of the old artwork and redraw it, or were they like just recoloring some of the old Ditko?
Yeah, I think they've been doing some reinterpretations of some of the old monsters.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And just the way they're some of the monsters are designed. Yeah, that's Eric Powell there. I have those comic covers there with Eric Powell artwork. Eric Powell's another one that he draws the Goon. It's his big comic, but he did some of those monster books for Marvel. Of course, yeah, his Fantastic Four #1 homage with all the monsters on the cover. I have those comics as well that have that on the Eric Powell, and the Hulk going up against Devil Dinosaur.
Couple more for you there, Rex.
Yeah, Monster Menace. Yep, I've got those too.
Hulk against Devil Dinosaur just seems to not be fair. Hulk would just whoop that lizard's ass. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree with that, Pops. Yeah. In fact, the second Hulk, Incredible Hulk, yeah, I've got that one too. I always liked this. He always had these ghost-like, Reich-like characters that he liked to draw. You can kind of tell the monsters that Kirby designed from the one Ditko designed. There's the distinctive look to the monsters.
There is. Yeah, I'm getting my workout this evening, Rex.
You sure are, Dave. It's your fault, Dave. Yeah,
I was going to say there's so many good pictures to show everybody.
Monsters. I mean, yeah, I've got that issue too. Yeah,
well, I think it's worth the effort. Sorry,
I was just saying that I have that issue too, Monster Menace. And, oh man, look at that. Yeah. Now I don't have that one.
Right.
But you can kind of tell the creatures that Kirby did and the ones that Ditko kind of designed. You could definitely tell a difference between like Jack Kirby's Incredible Hulk and then Steve Ditko when he drew the Hulk. I didn't like his Hulk, Dave.
I think Jack Kirby's Hulk was better.
He didn't have the power in the figure.
Yeah.
Steve Ditko kind of did leaner, meaner, figure. A leaner anatomy. If there's another artist that's kind of like him, as far as drawing characters that are heroes but with no muscles, it's kind of Joe Staton.
Oh yeah, Joe Staton. Yeah,
Joe Staton did E-Man and drew Green Lantern and things, and just the way they just have a leaner hero that they do. Of course, a lot of those early Marvel stories, we went up against communism, didn't we?
We did.
It was the Cold War. The Cold War is often overlooked, but that was a big issue in the 60s, the 70s, all the way up to the 70s. That's the first appearance, the man in the anthill. That's the first appearance of Henry Pym. First appearance of this character right there, Ant-Man, out of costume, but nonetheless the same character.
Yeah.
Yep, this is his second appearance. His first appearance in costume, that picture you just showed was his first appearance which could have been just a one-off.
Well, yeah.
The issues weren't even together. It was a few issues later before this comic came out.
That's quite right.
Yeah. And then they made him into a superhero.
They did. As you can see, this is some nice black and white artwork here.
Definitely. Fing Fang Foom. Yes.
Mm.
Well, Dave, when you finish with that book, I think we're finished because I have a show coming up.
Well, you do again, Rex. That's
in about
true.
20 minutes.
I was going to say, but I think we'll have to continue Steve Ditko next week.
Okay. We can do that.
Yeah.
I've come up with some more Steve Ditko stuff, but I've got
because I have at least another 2 books to go.
Okay. We can do that. Steve Ditko Part 2.
Part 2.
All right.
Because we did a Jack Kirby Part 1 and Part 2 a while back.
Okay. That sounds good to me. We'll do it.
We will revisit Mr. Ditko next Sunday at 3:50.
I will have to plunder my collection of more Steve Ditko.
Yeah. You will.
So yeah, guys, appreciate you as always. Great show. Love what you guys do. Glad that you. Oops, wrong one. The one behind us. Yeah, that one.
Oh, that one. That's
All
it.
right. Yeah. Appreciate what you guys do. Thanks for spending your time with us.
Been a pleasure as always.
Hell the chat, hell Pops, hell CG.
By the way, Rex, I was going to say I saw Pops on your 200th show last week for a short time.
Oh yeah. He was the first one in, as a matter of fact.
I think if I remember rightly, it ran for quite a few hours, did it?
Yeah,
it did.
I had to leave and go do my own show.
Right.
What I did, I had people on there, a large panel. In fact, that is the first episode that I've had 10 people on.
Wow.
Yep.
10 people filled up. Couldn't get another person in.
Well, I was going to say, Rex, I guess you weren't working that night.
Yeah, I was out working. Yeah, I left the share stream. 175 views. That's my second share stream. Second time I've done that.
That's because we were sharing it out and talking about it and laughing about it, and everybody was going to look. Did he really? And they would go look, and there you get a view. We were telling everybody, look at Red's and Rex's empty chair.
I had Greg Levine and Risey and other people in the chat when I came back and said, "That's all, folks," and shut it down.
Right.
Yeah. It ran for about 10 and a half hours. I had done that once before, and I couldn't believe the views I got on it. Yeah. And somebody told me, hey, chair streams are popular. So I positioned my chair. And when I had to go to work, I had to go to work. So I left everybody talking, left it running.
Oh, that's what happened.
Another 175 views. It's amazing. Wow. But I guess Shadowhawk was right. Chair streams are popular.
Yeah, there's a lot of streams. You're like, why are people watching this? I
think there's one that's a dirty trick, you know.
There's a chicken coop cam, right?
Right.
And it's a monetized channel. People throw money at it. It's a freaking chicken coop.
Wow. I need to set up my PayPal with my channel. Maybe I could get a chair stream.
We got a bird nest up there on one of the windowsills. I'm gonna put a GoPro on that so they can watch the robin pop eggs out next year. Pay me for that.
Yeah, pay me, right? We'll get that. We'll get that Cromcom book out.
Yeah, one way or the other. No, we're working on that. We got a relaunch plan, so.
Well, I'm kind of like you, Pops. I'm not going to launch my book till I get all the files, everything done, pretty much. Yep.
I got to have all the files this time.
And believe me, I've got like 3 different artists working on stuff right now to get my book done. And like I say, Doc Blalock knocking it out of the park. He's almost finished. Of course, he's one of these, Pops. He's like, I only got one more page to go, and that's been like for a month now. And he's putting his heart and soul in it, and he's doing them out of order. And he got the story done, he thought, And then well, I still got room, if I'm going to do 9 pages. So he was able to fit everything I asked him to fit in, and I couldn't ask for more.
He told me that he's approaching every panel
Yeah,
as a separate art piece. He's
That's
an
right.
artist. He's
Yep.
an artist, Rex.
Yep.
He's not so he's background. You saw the cabin. Come on.
he showed me a page
He's-
that he had cut off the bottom panel because he didn't like it, and then the panel that's going to be on the page he taped to the back. I said, "Is that separate?" It wasn't even one full page because,
Right.
and that's the way I kind of worked too. I was first putting together Devil Flyer panel by panel on little cards, and that's the way I was kind of putting together the second Devil Flyer issue, because I thought at first that I was going to do the artwork to the second issue, and I thought, if I have to draw it, I'm getting started now. But I encountered the same thing as Doc does. As you go along and you practice, you get better, and then you have to go back because you can do that panel better. Sometimes
I have
it's better
designed one
to do it all at
comic
one
book
time.
page in my life. I designed one page, and that was the first page of the Cromniverse. And
Okay.
I did it just like this, Doc. Rex. There it is. That's the concept for the first page of the Cromniverse. Now, you don't understand what the panels are, the 2 panels at the top, but you will when you see it actually drawn out. You
That's
see what
kind
I'm
of how I do it, Pops. Just
Yeah.
Draw out little thumbnails, and then go over with the artist with it, and let them go and do their thing.
Because you can flesh it out more, can't you? Once you've got the initial concept of the page.
Yeah. Then I can let the artists do what they do. I just I need this here. I need this here. I need this here. Go for it. Right. Because I don't know if you noticed, if you got a chance to see it or not, but that's me sitting in my computer with all my art and stuff on the wall. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. From behind me. So I sent him an actual photograph. I'm like, here's what it looks like from that angle behind me. I want you to draw, some facsimile of that. And then the 2 panels up at the top are, obviously Crom's origin. That's what that page is. It's Crom's origin right there. That's where he comes from. That's the day he's born. And then everything in the book after that is everybody's stories that they.
So really, you're the writer of his origin.
Just the origin story. Yeah. I'm the one that came up with that.
A bit like the Watcher, where he introduces the stories. Possibly.
Yeah. Well, I introduced the character.
Yeah.
He introduces himself to me more like.
Believe me, once I get in like artwork from Vic, and he's doing scans now for me, and I've got him working all the time on something. And then when Doc gets his artwork in, and Hockey's done a 2-page story, Dillard Draws is doing a 2-page story for me in it, and that thing's going to be well over 50 pages. I really don't. It might even exceed 60. I don't know yet, but it's going to be a big book. I'm going to try and have it stapled. We'll see if
What was that, Dave? Spiders? What?
No, it was a moth. It was a moth.
Around here, it's mosquitoes.
You don't kill that, man.
Moth. Yeah, right. Before it eats your collection up.
I know. I have to be careful.
You were chewing on an omnibus. You better stop that.
I might have disturbed it.
You might have to drop some
Around here, it's
behind some of
mosquitoes.
those books, boy.
Is it? Right.
Always slapping mosquitoes.
Right. Okay. Oh, well, we don't have them much here.
Well, guys, I've enjoyed it. I got about 10 minutes before my show. Check out the 4 o'clock shadow. Drop the link to my YouTube in the chat. Also, my Indiegogo project, Ashcan, that'll be getting published. Right now, we're working. Last night, Vic on my show and on his show was working on a piece that's going to go in a supplementary book. When you get one book, you actually get 2. I'm going to have 2 separate books. You're going to get 2 trading cards. It's a great value. The campaign kind of sucks as far as the write-up and everything, but in the photos, I only got 1 photo up there, but But once we launch and get the mail up out, Pops, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me. I'm going to be a thorn in your flesh, and a lot of other promoters like Don Chan. And I'm going to be hitting every channel I can, promoting the hell out of this book. But I got to get into some artwork first.
It's like this, right? Chris, I'd rather you were on my channel than going up against it. All right?
Well, that was one time a week.
And I was going to say, Rex, I presume I'll be seeing you on Tuesday evening again for another
Tuesday, right? We'll talk some more Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when I do those launch parties, Rex, it's like you can't do it too late because then you get ate up by the big boys, right? So I try to do them at 7 o'clock, but sometimes your show goes past 7 o'clock, and I'm over there in your chat going, "Hey, you guys, we're doing a launch party over here."
Blame the chair. Blame the chair. No more long chair streams. That's kind of disingenuous to the viewers, isn't it? What the hell's going on?
That's what it says in the title.
And they wait around 5 minutes if I come back, and I ain't coming back. I'm at work.
As long as your title is concise, Rex.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't matter, right? According to the StreamYard guys.
My titles are never concise. I've had, people not show up and
anyway,
gonna go run and get some coffee. And Dave, I can't wait to see you Tuesday. I'll also give Glenn the link so that he can. Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Was that just subscribed?
Yep.
Or just subscribed?
Queen Bee, yeah.
We met Queen Bee down in Savannah.
Awesome. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was one of those little panels waving at you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you enjoyed today's show. We're going to do Steve Ditko Part 2. Can't wait. See you Tuesday, Dave, and see you later, Pops. Take care.
All right.
Thanks.
Y'all have a great day.
I'm out of here. Hell of a chat.
Okay.
chaperone can get our number. The world's in slumber. Let's misbehave. There's something wild about you, child, that's so contagious. Let's be outrageous. Let's misbehave. When Adam won Eve's hand, he wouldn't stand for teasing. He didn't care about those apples out of season. They say the spring means just one thing to little lovebirds. We're not above birds. Let's misbehave.
In a world ravaged by monsters, a new evil has risen, poisoning the land and threatening humanity. Now, the Monster Matador, along with the meanest and baddest kaiju killers, have joined forces to kick its ass. Monster Matador, after Apocalypse.
What is that? What are you doing? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it! Let's go! I'm interested in stealing some babies. I'm not saying that I'm trying to be good. Literally,
Secrets, trust, worth. The bond between souls intertwined within otherworldly intrigue. Michaela Jade brings forth the Elite Warrior series, a collection of dark fantasy romance novels set in a twisted world where power lusts in the hearts of men and devotion seduces the souls of women. Warrior's Secret, Warrior's Trust, and Warrior's Worth. Available now at authormichaelajade.com.
Brian Christgau, your book, Six Gun Gorilla, is excellent. Six Gun Gorilla, awesome. Awesome comic book.
We've all heard the stories. We've all heard the legends. Wyatt Earp, Doc Holliday, Billy the Kid. But there's a secret history to the Old West. One that seems too strange to be true, but, well, we all know what they say about the truth. Very big ape, very big guns, blowing very big holes, very bad people. I think the world is finally ready to hear the story of the strangest, the most startling Western hero of them all. Six-gun gorilla. Long days of vengeance.
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz
how to drive.
hands. Jazz hands are done.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.